Caledonia Warriors are 1-0 after a trip up to Rochester Lures and a 28 to nothing victory last Friday night. Head coach Carl Fruechte joining us. And coach, we saw the end result. We saw some of the numbers from that game. You watched the film. What did the film tell you?
Well, that we started a little bit slow. We got a lot of respect for Mike and his staff up at Rochester Lords. Great football school. They did a great job, and we were just a little bit slow. Need to be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive line, but that's to be expected a little bit. But overall, we're very happy. Good win, good team win. Our kids played very unselfishly all three phases of the game, and but it's just one step in many.
And when you talk about the slow start, is that something that perhaps how easy is that to sell to your guys heading into week number two, knowing the fact that you not only have some film but some data to prove that that start needs to be a little better this week as compared to last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, for me, everything starts with the offensive line, and the defensive line, and for offensive line, we just got to step harder, be more explosive, get our pad level a little bit lower. The big word is trust, right? You got to trust your teammate that he's got your gaps, wherever you just got to have that trust, right? And same with the defense, right? Defensive line, coach has got you going where you got to go. You got to trust that your buddy's going to get to the next gap, and you got to take care of your man. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we can get better at. We expect to get better at it this week. But again, we got a real, fine Dover Yoda team, and they're going to do everything in their power to not allow us to do that.
And defensively, when you pitch a shutout, that's obviously will put you in a position to not lose a ball game. What was working on that defensive side of the ball?
Well, I just on the defensive side, excuse me, I think our trust level was a little bit better. It's by nature, right? Defensive coordinators don't like to hear this, but defense is easier than offense. A little bit less thinking and just more just exploding. And our coaches did a great job with that, and we're trying to simplify some things. Not that we're too complicated. It's just this generation, to be quite honest, we're trying to simplify it and slow things down. Just seems to be like where this generation is with the learning curve.
And looking at the game from a macro perspective on the offensive side of the ball, you had 196 yards on the ground, 162 through the air. Is that maybe you want those numbers a little higher than that, but is that the type of balance you want to see moving forward?
Yeah, obviously you want it to be balanced and keep your opponent on his toes and off balance. And, I thought, our kids did a great job. Again, you expect the first, three, football is so different than basketball and wrestling and all that, right? I mean, it takes some time. And, I always get a kick out of people that like, we watched you the first couple games and you weren't very good. And it's like, yeah, we don't want to be our best in game
Yeah.
3, 4, 5. It's about when to be your best. So, with that said, we're happy with our offense, but we saw a lot of missed opportunities. And again, always your opponent deserves the credit for making you mess up. But we feel like there's some real growth, and hopefully we're just getting started.
And us folks on the outside, we always hear the cliche of you make your most improvement between week one and week two. As a veteran coach yourself, do you agree with that?
I do think you make improvement, Darren, but to me that's a little bit short-sighted, and I get why coaches way back in the day said that. Don't get me wrong, but man, if we're not getting better from like I just said, week 3 to 4 to 4 to 5 to 5 to 6. We've had teams, Darren, where week 8, we're still like, there is room for improvement. You have to trust us and just go for it. And we've had teams that have done that. So, again, I think it's what you sell as a coaching staff. I mean, if and again, I get why they came up with that cliche, but is there going to be improvement? Like we're telling our kids, Dover Yoda played a very good Plainview Elgin Millville team and could have scored and could have won. So are they going to be better? Absolutely. Their coaching staff does a great job. So there's no doubt they're going to be better. But our goal is, to improve every week.
And looking at the film on Dover Yoda, what impressed you the most about them?
Oh, I like their quarterback. I like what their offensive defensive coordinators are doing. They got a real good H back, a real good slot back or slot receiver, excuse me. Their O line is big. I think Darren, the biggest thing that I guess I'm gonna start talking about is when you're dealing with high school kids, and I think more coaches need to talk about this and let people understand a breakup on a Friday night with their girl or Friday with their girlfriend, a flunk test, parents going through a hard time can make such a difference to high school kids on a Friday night. And so that's why we developed the philosophy of humble and hungry, don't look past anybody, and we would never look past Dover. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but with everything going on in our world, Darren, you never know what's going to happen at 7 p.m. So uh, we know it's going to be a good game, and again, we're excited about the opportunity, and just glad to be able to play football.
Well, just kind of piggybacking on that, I think from my profession end of things, we always talk about student athletes on what they can do on a field, but student athletes are a heck of a lot more well-rounded than most people, and myself included, give them credit to be, to kind of piggyback on that point. You agree?
Yeah, oh yeah, I think what our high school kids are doing, life is just so different. I mean, and people
Yeah.
don't want to talk about that. And I think I think we're doing us a disservice because we're not attacking the problem. And then I also think we get down on kids and myself included at times, Darren. I got to pick
Yeah.
myself up and just like, hey, remember what you're here for. Remember what they're doing. Remember what they're going through. They got a lot on their plate, and we got to help them through it. And you know, they're good kids and they work their tails off. And, like Coach Kessler and I had a great talk. They're going through some ups and downs up there. And that's a great staff. And I hope the people of Rochester start figuring it out for the sake of their young people up there.
All right, Coach. That's what it's all about from a result perspective. Hopefully, you're 2-0 after this Friday night, and the home field finds you well this Friday night. Keep your kids healthy. We wish you best of luck.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for what you do for us.
Carl Fruechte, head coach of the Caledonia Warriors, home opener this Friday night.